if it will let me share my screen. Give me just a second, guys. This is not giving me the option to share my screen today.
What do you mean? Technology's not working for you?
Yeah, technology is not working.
Come on, technology.
I know. I don't
You have
have
one
that.
job, technology.
I know. I don't have that option.
Okay, so you got a good setup there, man. Looks like you got like 3 microphones. Do you do like podcasting and whatnot?
Oh, I wish I did. No, I just I've just ended up with kind of my family does a lot of stuff like that.
Okay.
And I kind of end up with the extras. So I have a like this is like a broken microphone that I tried to fix. I'm more of the fixer of the family. So I end up with the black sheep of the equipment.
That works. And I love that you try to fix things instead of just throwing it out, right? Because there's always a way to fix something.
It's whoever.
Christian, you tried to say something. Yeah. So our first project is to research what is wrong with the technology.
I know, but I know I'm the host, but let me see.
Are you in your UNCC Zoom account or did you log in with like a personal email?
UNCC.
What you can do, Sarah, if you want to try to make me co-host and then send me the PowerPoint, I can be your slide mover.
Okay.
Mover forwarder.
That'd be great.
Very official title, everybody.
Very official.
Going on my resume. I move slides.
Okay.
I'm also the opening act with my jokes. So feel free to laugh or do a thumbs up.
Haha.
Thank you, Casey. Margaret, I saw you laughing, so thank you. I appreciate that. I appreciate the feedback, the virtual feedback, everybody. All right, Phil, I got a hand clap. Okay, very cool. I'm rolling now. All right, Sarah Powell, you are sending me the slide deck, right?
Yep. And I'll have to investigate this Zoom stuff later. And no, it is not under more. I did look there for that. Thank you for that recommendation though. It is, yeah, I've looked everywhere that it normally is hidden. I don't know, but thank you, Patrick, so much for being my slide mover and shaker today. We roll with what we got. 3 years into the Zoom stuff and always something. Okay, so like I said, we'll briefly talk about some expectations today, things going on with summer scholars. We'll talk about how to get paid. We'll talk about what your contracts look like. We'll talk about Canvas. We'll talk about all kinds of stuff. But before we dive into that, if you can go ahead and jump to the next slide. We'll have obviously a couple of guests with us today. Patrick is with us and then Sarah Hedrick. So you don't need anything more confusing than 2 Sarahs to deal with. But Sarah Hedrick will be able to help you navigate the pay part a little bit. But before we get into all of that, I want to talk a little bit about this notion of research. I know that when I was your age, because I can say things like that now, when I was your age, I definitely had this really specific sense of what research was. It was in a lab. It was with a lab coat, microscopes, all that kind of stuff, very STEM oriented. But one thing that's really important to acknowledge is you're starting to engage, whether this is your first time or something new or something old that you're engaging with, it is really just creative and active learning. So it's getting involved in the content and engaging with the content that you're interested in, whether that's education or psychology or engineering, whatever that is, and doing something new with that information in a really active way. So you can see this definition here. It's creative and systematic work undertaken to increase the stock of knowledge. We just want to know more about it and apply knowledge in new ways. So don't put yourself in this box. Don't be scared of the research. We're already super proud of you for taking this step to get involved in research, and we're excited for you guys to figure out what that looks like with your mentor throughout the next few months. All right, next slide. Okay, so this is going to be probably the most important piece. I know we always want to think about the money component. We don't like free labor here. So I am going to turn it over to Sarah Hedrick to go ahead and talk about that process a little bit more.
Yes, hello, I'm Sarah Hedrick. I will be your point of contact for anything related to timesheets and getting paid. I sent an email out on Friday with important information, including all the Mondays that you will need to turn in your timesheet. If you guys want to go ahead and add those to your calendars, it's really important to stay on top of it, because if you do not get in time, that does mean late pay for you. Your mentor, faculty mentor, is the one who's going to be approving your timesheets, and they will be getting reminder emails as well as you. But again, this is your responsibility. This is your payment. So please stay on top of it and reach out if you have any issues, questions. I am here to help. I am happy to help. And we will get you paid. And it is a confusing process. So any questions, I really do not mind. Please reach out to me. I'm happy to help. We'll troubleshoot. We'll get this going. All of you guys should have access to your timesheet. So be looking on that. And if not, reach out to me and we'll see what's going on.
And do you want to just talk briefly about the concept of making up hours as well?
Yes. So if you are part-time, you're working 20 hours a week, you have a little bit more wiggle room than full-time. With UNCC, you're allowed to work up to 29 hours per week. But again, with this program, your pay is 20 hours for part-time, 40 for full-time. So if you're part-time and you miss some hours one week, or you miss a week, you do have that 9-hour wiggle room, as long as you are equaling out 20 hours a week. For the full-time folks, 40 hours is the most that you can work in a week, period. So if there is a week that you're working less, I guess if there's 2 weeks you work less, you can work it up to where you're working 40 hours, but again, just don't go over the 40 hours.
Yes, awesome. Thank you. And again, we know that it can be an overwhelming and kind of a confusing process. So just feel free to reach out with any questions that you guys have about that process. We want to make sure that everything stays neat and pretty with a bow tied on it, to make sure that it's easier for your mentors to manage as they're checking things off, easier for our office, and easier for you to make sure you get the proper amount of dollar bills. Or digital dollar bills, I guess, as it were. Okay, so timesheets, approval process, pay attention to your email. Pay attention to your email is just a general rule of thumb for life. So make sure that you are engaged with your email throughout this summer as well. Obviously, you'll have communication with your mentor, but we'll have different updates coming out as well. So make sure we're on top of that. All right, next slide.
Before we move forward, we have a question in the chat. Timesheets are due by 11:59 p.m. on Mondays.
Yes, that is
Okay.
correct.
And then if there will be issues with getting my mentor and mentee's contract signed in time, can it be resubmitted when it is complete?
So you do have until June 15th. I know somebody pointed out to me that the Canvas had stated May 30th, which was today, that it was due, but you do have until June 15th to get that completed. That's really about the latest that we should be getting it from you, just so we make sure that everything is ready to go smoothly and every party understands the expectations for the rest of the summer. If you do have an individual circumstance that maybe June 15th is not going to be feasible for some reason, then please email me. And let me know that, you know, what the situation is, and we can kind of tackle it and see what some solutions are. But please do within the next, I think that's 2 weeks from today, make sure you have had that conversation with your mentor to make sure everything's ready to roll appropriately for summer. So speaking of dates, May 30th through August 8th, today is big kickoff day. And then August 8th, we'll jump down to the bottom list there, will be the wrap up date with our summer symposium. Okay, so in between that sandwich of May 30th and August 8th, some pieces of the meat there will be June 15th, 27th, and July 29th. So like I just said, contracts are due on June 15th. there is a place to submit those on Canvas, and we will look at that page here in just a second. I think most of you, if not all, have accepted that invitation to join the Canvas, so thank you. And so, as I mentioned a couple of minutes ago, you need to be having that conversation with your mentor. Obviously, there's a necessity for your mentor to sign off on that contract as well. So make sure that both of you really understand all the details of the contract and beyond what's on the contract. So that kind of gives us a framework from our end in the office, but you guys will have to determine what your expectations are between the two of you, or if it's a small group, 3, 4, however many of you that are working together. What is the mode of communication? What are the typical hours that you're going to be working? When are you guys going to meet to go over things? Like, all of that will have to be determined with your mentor individually. So those conversations, again, need to be as proactive and early as possible. And then June 27th, that's roughly a midpoint in our summer experience. And so that is going to be when abstracts are due. You will see, as part of the professional development series that we'll look at, there will be 1 week for optional abstract help. Of course, your mentor is there to support you through that process as well. But if you want some extra set of eyes over that abstract, I am more than happy to help you with that. And I will be available during one of the professional development Tuesdays. It will be an optional day. And we can go over what your abstract looks like so far in preparation for that June 27th due date. And again, there will be a place to submit that on Canvas. The abstract is going to set you up for eventually what your poster presentation will be centered around. So by July 25th, we'll need to have a submission of your poster PDFs that you will inevitably be presenting on at the summer symposium on August 8th. So that gives us a couple of weeks to check and make sure everything looks good. But of course, like everything else, that needs to be approved by your mentor and reviewed with them before submission, because this is part of their work too. We want to make sure that they are pleased and excited about the way that you're contributing and representing their research and your combined research. So make sure that you go over that PDF with your mentor before submission. Any questions so far on dates? I see pay dates.
Dr. Powell.
Due.
Yeah, you got
Yes.
that one? Okay.
Yes, due after the 8th. Is this reflective of our stipend amount? If so, are we meeting after symposium with mentor?
I can answer that one.
Yes.
So the 8th does fall in the middle of a pay period. But the program does end on the 8th, so you cannot log any hours after the 8th. So really after the 8th, you can go ahead and turn your timesheet in, even though it doesn't end until after that period. But you'll want to have all your work done before the 8th.
And also, they get paid for being at the symposium on the 8th as well. Perfect.
Yes.
Like that. Woohoo. Paid to present.
Yes,
There's another
and-
question. Oh, I'm sorry, Dr. Powell. Go ahead.
That's okay. I was just going to add, speaking of getting paid, we'll talk about this a little bit more later, but you will get paid to be at the summer symposium for the hour of your presentation. And there will also be an opportunity to get paid for a second hour to engage in peer review of other posters that are being presented that day. So I'll send out more information about that when we get a little bit closer to the summer symposium, but I just want to go ahead and get that on your radar, that I know this is it's like the last day of classes for summer, or the next to last day of classes for summer, which is not always ideal to have to miss if you are enrolled in classes this summer. But go ahead and plan for roughly 9 a.m. to 1 p.m. Between registration and the 2 sessions and lunch that day. Like I said, I'll send more details out, but if you want to go ahead and block that off on your calendar, if you're able, that information is there for those of you who are planners. And there's another.
You got those?
Yes, if 2 scholars are on the same project, do we submit the same abstract? Yes, I'm fine with that. Since you're working together on one presentation and you're working on the same project together, to me, it makes sense to work smarter, not harder, and just make sure that that is a collaborative experience. So we will be giving your mentor some opportunity to give some feedback, and think a little bit about your engagement this summer. So they'll be able to kind of give some insight, if necessary, into how collaborative that experience was. This is a really great tool for teamwork. So yes, I'm good with that. It makes a lot of sense to me. Yes. Do we need to submit the same abstract, or is it more dependent on what we need for the project? Can you clarify a little bit, Jacqueline, about what you need for the project?
You're off.
Hi,
There you go.
sorry, I was having some technical issues. My computer keeps trying to detach.
See,
But
it's not just our technology. It's
Not
the
just
AI.
us.
It's coming to get us.
I just was asking that because I know I'm working with someone else on a project, but after talking to my mentor, we might be working on like focusing on different parts since there's a lot of data. So I just wasn't sure if we like need to submit the same abstract or if we should write different ones if we're focusing. Like, is that just kind of like dependent on what we need, or?
I will leave that up for your group to determine.
Okay.
So I'll leave that up for you guys. If you are working in a small group, if you're being very collaborative on the data analysis altogether through this summer, and it makes sense to really kind of piggyback off each other and collaborate in that context, great. Same abstract is fine with me. If you are kind of given different tasks and responsibilities throughout the process, then it would make more sense for you to do something a little bit more individualized. So I'll make a place to kind of for those who are working in groups, I'll send out some sort of form for you to indicate whether you plan to do something together or individually. That'll help me out. But these are good questions. Bring into light some things that I hadn't considered yet. So I appreciate the questions.
Can I ask a follow-up question about that actually?
Absolutely.
Does the same thing go for like when we actually are doing poster presentations? Like, do we like all work together on one presentation? Is that also up to us, or?
Yeah, I can leave that up to you
Okay.
guys as well.
Okay,
So
thank
that form, Kirsten, if you don't mind to write that down for me, to make a form for individual or group abstracts and poster presentations. The actual date. Okay, now I scrolled down. Okay, any other questions? I think.
Sarah Hedrick got that one. And then there's another question that is very similar. Where do we find out if we're in the same project as someone? It sounds like those two questions, when you start meeting with your mentor, you're going to start figuring out the logistics and whatnot.
Yeah, that'll definitely be a mentor question because it was sort of up to the mentor to determine how many students they wanted to support and bring onto their project. So they will have the information of however many students. I think maybe the biggest is 3 on one project, I want to say that I saw. Sure. Looked at so many spreadsheets in the last month. Seems right. But if you are, okay, so that's just a group question. If anybody else is doing their CS curriculum through data science.
Dr. Powell, do you go by Dr. Powell or Sarah?
Sure. Yeah, that works.
Which one?
Dr. Powell is fine since we have another Sarah.
Okay. Do you recommend that the students go ahead and just start reaching out to the mentors and take that initiative and not wait?
Yes, absolutely. So faculty are great for wanting to do this work, but they're not always the most organized sometimes. We love them for that. It's an endearing quality. So this is a really great opportunity for you guys to practice some proactive professional practice. It's a lot of alliteration for a Monday or a Tuesday morning. What day is it? But
A lot
yeah,
of big
go
words
ahead
for
and
me.
go ahead and reach out to your mentor today. If you haven't already been in consistent conversation with them, go ahead and reach out and say, hey, I'm getting paid now, ready to get paid, ready to do some research, ready to get my hands dirty on this. So what are the next steps? Where do we go from here? And kind of prompt them to get the ball rolling if they have not yet already. So absolutely go ahead and reach out to them. Okay, any other questions about dates? Are the mentors the faculty associated with the project or a higher level student that is working with them? It should be the faculty that is associated with the project, unless they have another kind of sub team working from like a graduate student perspective. Patrick, you may be able to clarify that, but the official mentor should be the faculty. And if they
Yeah,
have
all
graduate
mentors are faculty mentors at this time. Those are the ones that will be supervising you and mentoring you along the way.
Yes, perfect. Okay. Okay, schedule of sessions. There is a link there to the schedule of sessions. Patrick, if you can potentially show that. Yep, bing, bang, boom. So this PowerPoint and presentation will be on Canvas later today. So you can go back and reference this if you haven't already seen this itinerary on our website. But there you can see, yep, the abstract assistance, that is June 20th. So not quite a week before your abstract is due. That will be optional. Everything else is mandatory. So please keep in mind, these professional development sessions are designed and built in for a good reason. I am very much not a person to do something for the sake of doing it. We want to make sure that these pieces are bite-sized and manageable and make sense for where you are in your research process, are going to be things that are applicable to your journey where you are. So they are mandatory. You do get paid for them. As I mentioned in my email previously, if there is a conflict, we know life happens, and that's okay. On occasion, we want you to be in person as much as you possibly can. That's the expectation. But as life does happen, if there's a conflict, then just reach out to me and let me know, hey, I have a dentist appointment today, not going to be able to make it. What can I do to make up that time? So the recordings of those presentations will be on Canvas after the presentation is over, obviously. So we are not going to do live stream of the Zoom live stream Zoom sessions of the presentations. It's just going to be the recording that's going to be uploaded later. And you can watch that, and there will be a prompt for a reflection post on each week's module as that week occurs. So the reflections in those modules will not be open until the week that it's taking place. So again, just reach out to me, let me know. Some of you have already done that, which I really appreciate and demonstrates a lot of professionalism from you guys, which is great. So thank you for keeping me in the loop of those conflicts that are coming up this summer, and just make sure that as those weeks come up where you do have those other things going on, that you are prepared to set some time aside. Again, it'll be an hour, hour and a half max for you to watch the recording of the presentation and complete the 250 word reflection post. Okay. Held in person, required. We talked about conflict and the alternate assignment. So this is kind of that asterisk. We always have to have this built in to some capacity, right? So if you are not attending the professional development series and you're not completing the alternative reflections and communicating those absences, then we do reserve the right to remove you from this program. So yes, you're not going to necessarily get paid if you're not clocking in for these things anyway. But this is still funding and opportunities that we want to make sure are being utilized really well when we have such a relatively limited number of spots. So please keep in mind that you're signing a contract, right, to say that you're committed to this experience. So we want to make sure that you're getting the full experience and taking advantage of all the different pieces that are here for your development. So do keep that in mind. Okay, we've talked about the contract a couple of times. We'll go ahead and look at a quick sample of that. Hopefully all of you have already seen this by now, and this is not new information, but there is a place, of course, for you both to fill out your information, project title description, different expectations. So again, those are kind of some framework pieces from our office that we expect all parties to adhere to and engage with. And so places for you guys to initial. And then the mentor will kind of guide you through this process of different outcomes that they want you to achieve and accomplish based on where you are in this process. Like I said, I know some of you are brand new to research. Some of you have been doing this for a few semesters, maybe. So those goals and objectives of what you should be able to accomplish this summer look very, very different. And so it will be the mentor's role to kind of help individualize and personalize those goals of what these outcomes should be in line with what they need to get done for their own project this summer, and how you can contribute to that. So they'll walk you through some of those outcomes. And anything below that? Is that it? Okay, cool. Any questions about the contract?
I have a question. When I joined the summer, this is my first time doing this, and I hadn't seen the contract quite yet. Where do we go to find that? Should that be in an email, or should be in one of the Canvas?
Yep, that is
course.
in the Canvas. Yep. So there is a copy of the contract in the Canvas. Your mentor has a copy. Your mentor has gotten an email with a copy of the contract. So from either place, again, if you're in communication with the mentor, they should already have that. But as a backup, it is in the module, in one of the modules on Canvas. So you can download a copy of that, complete it, and then there's a place to submit that contract as well on Canvas.
Okay, thank you.
Mm-hmm. Any other questions? Okay, cool. So that is an excellent segue to our Canvas page. And so, like I said, I think most of you have accepted that invitation, which is great. So you should have, oh no, you're not a student who's in there. Okay, well, with Patrick being the slide guy today, we won't be able to get that shared, but it's pretty self-explanatory. Each week is, thank you, Emily. Yes, it's in the to-do list labeled Mentee and Mentor Contract and is a document. Like I said, pretty self-explanatory. Each week is a different module. I will be posting announcements there that will be, you'll get that as an email from me, and anything that you get as an email from me will also be posted in announcements there. So really Canvas should be a one-stop shop for everything that you need. Like I said before, each module will become open in the week that it is taking place. Contracts will be due there, abstracts will be due there, poster PDFs will be due there. I think those are the three things that will need submitted over the course of the summer, and you can do that through our Canvas page. Okay. All right, next slide. All right, we did it. Okay, so what other kinds of questions do we have? Let me see. What all will we have to log in our hours for getting paid? So from our end, your professional development series, your attendance to those sessions, your engagement at Summer Symposium, those are going to be the big things that we expect for you guys to engage with to get paid. Outside of that, your 20 hours or your 40 hours is going to be clocking in to do the things that are research oriented. So that is really up to, again, like I said, that needs to be a conversation as soon as possible with your mentor, so that you guys can decide, okay, this is the amount of work or what type of work needs to get done this week. So what are your 20 hours going to look like? Are you doing 9 to 5 for X number of days? Are you working in the evening? When are you going to clock in? So I'm a big time management and organization person. So my recommendation, again, knowing that you guys have so much else going on besides just this research, this is a really important experience, and what we want you to do it well. Anything that's worth doing is worth doing well, right? Otherwise, it's probably not worth doing at all. But while you're balancing this experience with family responsibilities, classwork, other jobs, maybe whatever it is that you have going on, I'd really recommend that you go ahead and sit down with your mentor and agree to a consistent schedule each week of what you're going to be working. So maybe that's 6 to 10 every night for Monday through Friday or whatever it is. But what makes sense for you, I think that would be very helpful from a time management perspective to go ahead and count on. So then within that framework, it'll be up to you guys to determine, all right, you're responsible for analyzing this set of data this week, or you're responsible for writing the literature review this week, or you're responsible for writing the method section, whatever it is that your mentor wants to see you accomplish and contribute to the overall project. That's up for you guys. So as always, once you have a clear objective in place, you'll be able to reverse engineer and say, this is how much I have to get done each day. And then that's what you clock in to do. So it is very personalized to your experience with your mentor or your experience with your group. So of course, if you are working with a group, that adds a different level of that dynamic to it. So make sure that you're communicating with your group well, maybe planning some times to co-work together. Whatever works for you guys, but that proactive communication is going to have to be there regardless.
I think you mentioned the symposium is about 9 a.m. to 1 p.m. is what we're looking at, and that's going to be confirmed as soon as we know it, right?
Yeah. So once, Hedrick, do we have a room for that yet?
Yes.
Okay. Okay. So we've got the room reserved. We'll be working on getting some assignments in place for which students will present which hour. We'll get that hammered out. Hopefully by the end of next week, I think would be reasonable to go ahead and give you that communication as soon as possible so that you can plan and if you are in classes, let your professors know, hey, I'm presenting at summer symposium this day. That should be an excused absence from faculty, but if you encounter any issues with that, then you can let us know and we can help advocate for you in that capacity. But you should be good there. So, yes, I think one session will be from 10 to 11, and then a session from 11:30 to 12:30. So we'll have a little bit of time in between for groups to change out. And like I mentioned before, you will have the opportunity. So for example, if you present in the 10 to 11 session, then you have the opportunity to get paid to engage with peer feedback to those who are presenting in the second session that day, or vice versa. If you're presenting in the second session, you can come to the first session and give feedback and get paid for that as well. And more details will come about that. But like I said, just from a time and planning perspective, that's reasonable to account for would be the 9 to 1 window. Okay. Do we clock in today's session? If we do, is it just 1 hour? Yes, you can clock in for today for sure. If you haven't already clocked in, it is the hour. Unless you're already meeting with your mentor. If you're having a meeting with your mentor, that counts too. Can we only get paid up to the stipend mentioned? Yes, it is capped at that amount, right, Sarah?
Yes, correct.
Yeah, so that works out to about that 20 hours a week. So working up to 29 hours a week is only going to be feasible if you missed hours the week before, for example. So if you only worked 11 hours one week and you need to catch up to make it a 20-hour balance, then that 29 hours the following week would be feasible, but that's not going to be something that you can do consistently because that 2,500 is the cap there.
I think Sarah Hendrick and I got all the questions, but if we miss somebody, just come off mute and ask away. Super awesome question. Hendrick, this one's for you. Did I miss where we clock in banner self-service, right?
Yes, and there are instructions on the email that I sent out on Friday. I'm going to type in my email and chat. If you did not get the email, you want me to resend it, just reach out to that email, sprout210@uncc.edu, and I'll resend it. Say what?
At charlotte.edu.
You're right. At Charlotte.
Powell, do mentors have access to the Canvas page?
No, I can give them access to the Canvas page if that would be helpful.
And I saw a question in here. So are we hourly? Yeah, that's how the university does it. So you're hourly paid student employees, even if you might be on like some other grant where it's stipend, you know, it kind of flushes out in the end on payroll. So just make sure you're clocking your hours no matter what project you're working on. Okay, there's a bunch more questions. As soon as I look away, 5 more chats throw in there.
Yes, if you just clocked in now, so here's the thing, if you're, yes, but here's the thing, it's going to be honor system, right? So if, for example, it's going to sound tough, but it is what it is. If you just came into the meeting at 10:30, then honor system, you need to go back and rewatch the first half of this presentation once it is over and uploaded onto Canvas. Okay, so we want to make sure that you're getting all the information and fully present for what you're getting paid to do.
And Powell, would you agree, like for the professional development series that we have, if the guest speaker is done in like 40 minutes, then they can just clock for the full hour, right?
Oh yeah, absolutely. Yeah, that's
Okay.
not a problem.
Yeah, because it's a very contained thing.
Right.
When it comes to clocking those hours, like for today, does the timesheet, will we be typing in like for May 30th, we were in a meeting for an hour, or is it like we click start and it runs our time for us?
So I believe you can do it 2 different ways. You can do it, you can clock in and out like as you're working. Like so the beginning of this meeting from 10 and then you clock out at 11. Or you can go in after the fact and just add the number of hours you worked each day. So like if today is the only time you're working, just add an hour in after the fact. Either way works. As long as you're keeping track of it. That's the most important part. Just make sure if you do go in after the fact, have a record of how much you worked.
Hedrick, there's a question that I can't answer. Past semesters, you were able to enter time manually. If you forgot to clock in, is that still true? Did you just answer that? And
I think that's yes, I think that goes along with what I was saying, that you can go in after the fact.
So I wasn't paying attention to you. My bad.
No. I got confused for a minute too.
It's okay. I'm reading and listening at the same time.
Sorry, one more thing I wanted to clarify. So about the faculty mentor stuff. So the professor that I'm working under, he put me under a PhD student. So what is that situation like? Am I still going all the way up to the professor, or am I just discussing with PhD student what's going on?
So ultimately, your faculty mentor will be that faculty person. Now, if they have a PhD doctoral student kind of working alongside them, it's probably just a good exposure for you. But the faculty mentor is the one who will be your ultimate person if you have major issues and kind of keeping everything into the loop. So that person should be signing off on your hours and whatnot.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah. I'm working through all the chat questions.
I just saw one from Emily. So for full time, it's assuming that you're working 20 hours a week to cap at 2,500. Full time is 40 hours a week for 5,000. So part time would be 20 hours a week at 2,500. Does that make sense?
See a question about student account. Once I click the employee icon, it says I'm unauthorized to view this page. It's probably because the ePath is still processing, right, Hendrik?
Yes. Reach
Student
out.
employment's
to
a little
me.
behind.
Yes, like there's only one person doing it in HR, so they are a little bit behind, but I still want to double check. So reach out to me if that's the case, and I'll look in and see where it is in the HR process.
And then dress code for professional development meetings. Dr. Powell, are you cool with just casual? I mean, it is.
I love that question. That is such a great question. But yes, I'm fine with it being casual. Keep in mind that I'll say this, balance is always a good thing. The faculty and other partners who are going to be leading these sessions are potentially great networking opportunities for you. So your SpongeBob pajama pants might not be the best look, but you don't have to come in a suit and tie. So casual is totally fine, but just keep in mind that we will be engaging with some folks who could be good contacts for you in the future. So do with that information what you will.
Hedrick, this is a question that always comes up. If the university is officially closed, are we still allowed to work? I think student employment says no to that. Is that right?
Yes, if it's, I'm trying to think, because it's a little funky for graduates and undergraduates. If the university is closed, you cannot work. If the university is still open, but say like reading day, for example, or an instance like that, like the university's open, but it's just off for students, you can work. But if it's, the university's closed.
Federal holiday. Yeah.
Yes, you cannot.
Which that should just be 4th of July for a summer term, right? It's the only one that won't count.
Yeah, that's the only day that I can think of. I saw another chat somewhere in there, a couple of them. If your faculty mentor is not responding to you by email, my recommendation is go to the website to see if you can find a phone number. Some faculty have them, some don't at this university. If they don't, email them again and maybe CC Dr. Powell and then give it a couple days. And then if we don't hear a response, we'll figure it out. We're going to work with you to get that faculty mentor going because they have a responsibility to you all as well. And it could just be because they're on a quick vacation and forgot to put their out of office thing. And then again, I'm going to throw out there, they pay stuff. It could be that student employment is backlogged. They have one person for the entire university, believe it or not. And, around this time they get flooded. So keep monitoring that. And until the timesheet opens up, just kind of hold tight on what hours you've been working so that you can populate them in there. And then keep Sarah Hedrick in the loop if you have any kind of major concerns. And that way she can, flick somebody over HR to help you guys out, okay? I don't see any other questions in the chat. If we missed something, come off mute and let us know.
I had one more question about the Canvas page. When I accepted the invitation, I had a bunch of different modules, like different Canvas pages pop up. Is there one in particular that we work through, or is that more of a between me and my own mentor?
What do you mean by a bunch of, so each week is a module, essentially each professional development session has its own module.
Okay, I'm just, because when I accepted, I got there are about 11 different Canvas courses popping up right now, and I didn't know if going through all of those,
I think you should put
there's
employment training
there's
on.
one in particular we work through.
So the only one that so if you have a bunch of different courses, we are only the ORU Summer Scholars training course. So this is the only one that's going to be applicable to what we're doing here. So if you have other courses showing up for other classes or other training things or whatever, don't have answers to that one, but I do know that the OU Summer Scholars training modules is the course that you need to complete for us.
Okay, thank you.
Any other questions?
That is clear so far.
I have a comment. I just want to say hi real quick. My name is Kirsten. I'm the graduate assistant for OUR. So you can reach out to me at all if you have any questions too. And if you reach out to the undergrad research email, that'll be me too, but you can email me directly if you want to. I also just want to say that we have an Instagram and it has all updates with like dates and things. So you should really go follow the Instagram. If you have Instagram, it's 49__OUR. And then along with that, we do a spotlight each week. So, and I'll put a sign up on Canvas. So if you want to be featured on the social media, we'll do a little blurb about you and what you're researching. It's a great way for us to like get OUR out there, but you as well. So I could put that on the Canvas page. And then the last thing is if for on your Zoom name, if we ever, when we're doing Zooms, if y'all could do your first and last name, that's really helpful because I take attendance. So thanks, guys.
Oh, Patrick, that was not supposed to be a direct message to you. Sorry.
Well, thank you for reminding me of what our Instagram was. Sarah Hedrick, there's a couple more questions about the timesheet. So timesheets can be found in their banner self-service. It's not a physical timesheet. It's something you log in online, correct?
Yes, and I'm trying to copy down all the names of people who don't have a timesheet so I can check. But again, please just send me a personal email as well, and I'll double check and let you know where it is in the HR queue. But yes, some people aren't going to have their timesheet up yet, just because of the HR thing.
So what I would do is, if you're trying to find your faculty mentor, simply I put their first and last name, comma, UNCC in Google, and it usually takes me to anything they have on the website. That's how I would do it. Start there. And then could you please repeat what you said about the attendance?
Which part of the?
Yeah, for there you go. Kirsten got it. So just first and last name on Zoom. The rest of the attendance will be easy because you guys will all be physically there.
Yeah, and for attendance for the rest of the sessions, as they are in person, we'll have a QR code for you to scan and check in, and that will be at the end of each session. So you have to stay to the end. Tricks.
It's when the dance party starts, at the end, at the end.
Correct. Yeah. Okay, any other questions?
Just mark your full name on the alternative assignment if you can't make it to workshops. So all that stuff will be in the Canvas site.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, are we allowed to work on weekends?
Yes. I don't have a problem with that.
Work it out with your faculty mentor. Make sure they want you to. Oh, more questions are coming. Oh, those are just people's names. My phone does not read QR codes. Do you have an alternative way? Yeah, we'll find another way. We can always write your name down. And will we be doing assignments at these sessions, or is it more of a presentation? I will say from past experience, each of the speakers, they tend to have, little mini activities that they have you guys do to make sure that you're learning the stuff, and they're really, really good. So there's stuff that will be happening there, especially things like the abstract one and the poster session. It's a really great opportunity for you to figure out how to write those things. How do we know if our attendance is being checked? We're looking.
It'll be on Canvas, so you'll have like a check if you were there. And then the alternative assignment is through a discussion. I think there was a question about that in the chat, but there's like a discussion under each module for each professional development. So if you miss the makeup assignment, is to do like a discussion post.
We're good.
Okay, yeah, and yeah, we'll give it another minute for everyone to make sure that they have their first and last name in there, but questions will inevitably arise. That's okay. That's how things go. So as you think of anything that you may need clarification on, feel free to reach out. You guys have my email address. You've gotten emails from me, but I will put it again here just in case. Oh my goodness, I almost typed my WVU email. That's not real. Don't. Okay.
And Sarah, Patrick, and Kirsten, would you mind staying on when we're done with this real fast?
Sure.
Oh man, I got called to the principal's office.
Oh, you're in trouble.
Always happens. So after the students put their name in the chat, they can jump.
Yeah, absolutely. Yep. If you've
Boom.
marked your attendance, get out of here. Go live your life.
Happy summer, everybody. Woohoo! Whoa, look at all those names. It's scary. My computer's like gonna blow up with all these names. There's two names in one of those chats, just so you guys caught it. And another two. Oop, Raina, you got your hand up. What's up? Oop, guess
Hello.
not.
I had a small question about like the employee thing. So I'm not able to like log my hours yet because every time I click employee, it says like I'm unauthorized to like view the page yet. So today is actually my official first day and we've already actually started like in the lab today. So should I just record my own hours for today and then wait until like it authorizes me to use that page, or do I need to talk to someone?
So yes, keep track of your hours. I wrote your name down, so I will check on, and actually, what's your last name?
Hemmings, H-E. Do you want me to type it in the chat or
That's
spell it
okay.
out for you? Okay.
That's okay. I am going to double check to see where the process is for that one. But yes, just keep track of it so you can add it in after the fact. I think by the end of this week, everyone should have it.
All right. Thank you so much. Bye.
Okay, so like I think my official start might be this Friday because like my mentor is a little bit busy like in the beginning of this cert. So should I like but he gave me some like things to read and all that and some videos to watch. So should I just log in those as my hours too when I do them?
It was a little hard to understand you, but I think you said that you're not meeting with your mentor till the end of the week, but they did give you some reading assignments to do.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay, yes, just keep, that counts as workable hours.
Okay. Yeah. Okay, and also, yeah, sounds good.
Hi there, this is Tom Schmedeke. I'm T. Schmedeke here in the window. I'm here with a group of the NanoShore people. So I put all their names in. Thanks for inviting us, Sarah.
Sure.
I accidentally sent one of them in earlier, but anyway, that we're all over here in a classroom. All right, well, thank you.
Absolutely. Thank you so much, Tom.
Goodbye.
So usually for full time, because it's 40 hours a week, right? So do we usually do like 8 hours a day?
It's really however you and your mentor want to break it up. I would assume that they'd probably give you a good bit of flexibility with what your schedule might look like. But again, you'll just need to communicate that what those hours look like with your mentor, if there are any particular times that they want to work directly with you or have meetings with you, or you're working as a group. That's all going to be decided between you guys.
Because I have a feeling because the way that things are going this week, like I don't think I'll have that much hours this week because of him being busy and all that. So like I just want to like reach out to him and like try to create a schedule on Friday.
For sure. And yeah, so if you're full time, you won't be able to make those up, right, Hedrick?
Correct.
Probably not. So it's just going to be work max of 40 hours per week.
Right.
And you just keep moving forward.
Yep. Thank you. And have a good day.
You too.
Thank you too.
It was a fun meeting you all in the orientation.
Thank you.
Thanks. I like to be fun.
I bet you the student left their camera on, so I'm just going to try to remove them. Can I do that? And then Powell, you can stop the recording.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, there we go.
Oh, okay.
Good job. Nicely done.
Yes, that was the most questions we've ever had ever.